I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Tuesday, September the 22nd, 2015. Israeli security forces were on high alert today as Jews prepared for the start of Yom Kippur, the Jewish Day of Atonement. In particular, at the Western Wall in Jerusalem's Old City, which is expecting tens of thousands of worshippers. Tensions have been high in Jerusalem and in the West Bank, with an increase in violent attacks over the last few weeks. Last night, a Palestinian man was apparently about to throw a grenade at Israeli soldiers near Hebron when it detonated prematurely, killing him. The man was identified as 23-year-old Dia Talama, an Islamic Jihad operative. And this morning, an 18-year-old Palestinian woman attempted to stab IDF soldiers at a checkpoint in Hebron. They opened fire, wounding her in the leg. She was given medical treatment at the scene. The IDF today also announced a 2-day closure of Gaza border crossings, as well as those crossings from the West Bank, a security precaution that is taken every year at this time. The United Nations held its first Tashlich ceremony this year. The symbolic casting away of sins held before Yom Kippur was held last night along the East River in New York in Turtle Bay, where outgoing Israeli ambassador to the UN Ron Prosor led the symbolic event of throwing bread into the water, which included the participation of UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, along with ambassadors from the US, Britain, Canada, Australia, Ukraine, and Brazil, among others. Prosor said, as we mark 70 years since the founding of the UN, this is an opportunity to reflect on the objectives of this institution and to let the voices of reason and of tolerance to reclaim the public space so that the UN can reestablish its rightful role as a bastion of freedom and as a temple of peace. Prosor, who became Israel's 16th permanent representative to the UN in June of 2011, is set to leave the post this month to be replaced by Israel's Science and Space Minister Dani Danon. Ynet reports that the city of Reykjavik is backtracking on a ban it issued last week of all Israeli goods. Iceland magazine reported that the country's capital is withdrawing the measure, which caused great uproar in Israel and in the American Jewish community. Reykjavik Mayor Dagur Eckersten told the Icelandic Broadcasting Service on Saturday that the decision was, quote, poorly prepared. He did add, however, that a new proposal would be forthcoming that would ban products made in the West Bank, but not all Israeli products. Israeli company SodaStream International says it can help Syrian refugees. The Israeli manufacturer is offering to employ 1,000 Syrian refugees in its newly opened plant in Rahat in Israel's Negev. SodaStream and the mayor of Rahat said they can absorb up to 200 families there. Company CEO Daniel Birnbaum said in a statement that, as the son of a Holocaust survivor, I refuse to stand by and observe this human tragedy unfold right across the border in Syria. He said just as SodaStream has done its best to help Palestinians in the West Bank, it was time for businesses to address the Syrian humanitarian crisis. SodaStream recently moved its plant from the West Bank, which employed many Palestinians, to Rahat, some say over pressure from the BDS, boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement. The current proposal from the company is subject to Israeli authorities' approval. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry extended his good wishes to the Jewish community on the eve of Yom Kippur. He said the Day of Atonement was an opportunity for a, quote, rededication to core values of the Jewish people, to pursue justice, perform acts of kindness, lift up those who are less fortunate, and advance the cause of peace. And that it was also a reminder to people of all faiths about the importance of humility and the need for charity and compassion. The leaders of the Conference of Presidents of Major American Jewish Organizations released a statement yesterday on the eve of Yom Kippur of 53 national Jewish organizations to recommit to common principles and objectives and to civil discourse. Chairman of the conference Stephen Greenberg and Executive Vice Chairman Malcolm Hoenlein released the statement in light of the debate over the Iran deal within the Jewish community, noting that there were many attempts in the media to portray the community as divided. But they said rather, in fact, what unites us far outweighs any differences. The Declaration of Unity notes that despite the differences in opinions over the Iran deal, what was shared was serious concerns for the security of the United States and the world posed by Iran's nuclear program and the safety of Israel amidst threats from Iranian leaders. The declaration vows a rededication to those shared commitments. It concludes with a prayer for the new year that it be marked by blessings of peace for this and future generations of the people of America, Israel, and all the world. And looking now at our programming for tonight, Tuesday, September the 22nd. For those of you unable to attend synagogue, JBS is televising live Kol Nidre services from New York City's Central Synagogue at 6 p.m. tonight and 8:30 p.m. with an encore presentation at 11:30. Then tomorrow, Wednesday, live Yom Kippur services at 9 a.m. and 3:30 p.m. And coming up at 5:30 tonight, Rabbi Mark S. Golub shares some thoughts in preparation for the opening services of Yom Kippur on the most solemn night of the Jewish year, Kol Nidre Eve. That's from the high holiday service of Chavurat Etz Chaim and Divrei Torah in Stamford and Greenwich, Connecticut. I'm Teisha Bader. Gemar Chatima Tova.